Hi guys, this is Sairaj from Centuries of Sin, and we're here with Leon Quadros and Siddharth Kadadi of Zignema. Thanks a lot for talking to us.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us, man.
Yeah. So we're here at the Humming Tree in Bengaluru, where Zignema are going to play a brutal gig to support their new album, What Makes Us Human Is Obsolete. So, guys, tell me, how do you feel about the new album right now and how it's going to represent Zignema to your fans?
Well, the new album is definitely a lot more relentless than the previous one. That's how I would personally put it across. And I don't know about how it's going to represent us to the crowd, but it's like, we've still not lost out on the old elements. Like, we still write groovy stuff. It's going to make people groove harder, and there are certain parts that will definitely catch people's attention,
Right.
and which they have not heard in the previous album. So small changes. Which we felt was kind of necessary. That's about it.
Great. So you've already played gigs in Mumbai and Delhi so far to support the album. So how have the fans reacted to the new songs and the new album so far?
It was pretty brutal, man. I mean, like the response that we got with regards to playing the old songs and the new songs, the crowd support has been really great. They're responding to the new songs in the same way. It's like crazy mosh pits and the whole headbanging is going on like crazy.
Yeah.
They're responding really well to it. At least that's what we feel, man.
That's cool. And I know that so many Indian musicians out there, and I'm sure including you guys, have day jobs that keep you busy and pays the bills and everything. But even so, what was the delay in coming out with the second album after almost 5 years?
Well, firstly, I would say, he wasn't a part of the band back then.
Yeah.
What happened is a lot of good things happened to us after our debut album. We got to play Bangkok, then suddenly we see ourselves in Germany twice, then we played Wacken, then we played Dubai. So, we were just going all out with our first album. So, we thought that, rather spend time promoting your first album properly. And then whenever you would come back to your home crowd, you could see people sing all your lyrics by heart.
Yeah.
So that kind of got us a little more engrossed in just playing shows. And I think in between 2012 and 2013 we played 45 gigs. Yeah, so that was quite a lot. And then I think when he came on board, we got to play Silence Festival in Nepal. We also did Inferno Metal Festival.
Wow.
So it didn't stop. Good shows kept coming, and we actually didn't feel the pinch. Hey guys, time's passing by, and we need to write some new material. We were writing new material. We were playing 3 of our songs from the new album live for a couple of years. But then, yeah, man, show can distract you a lot. It can get your attention off the record. So then December 2013 is when we actually slapped ourselves in the face and we realized hey, we have a new member and we need to start writing new stuff. We need to put out a record and make his presence and a new record more prominent in the scene. So that's when we started. 2014 onwards, we started taking our songwriting a lot more seriously.
Okay.
And in a span of 1 year, we managed to compile 7 songs.
Wow.
There were two or three more songs which we checked out from the track list. We are going to rework on it and put it on the next album.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we had quite a lot of tracks, but we were just being sure that the album should sound complete and it should be like an overall oral experience.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the first thing, and secondly, Jimmy moved to Sangli, so he would keep traveling for shows. So we had to be very picky with our shows. Yeah, so he was setting up his business, he was testing something. So when it comes with career, you cannot just play around. So that's what. And he being married, he has to support his family as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, then he would keep traveling quite often, and then we started taking things a lot more seriously. The pace increased for writing songs. September we decided fuck it, the whole album's ready, let's just hit the studio. So we finished tracking the whole album in 5 days.
Oh, nice.
Drums, guitar, bass. So that's when it started rolling fast. But we just had to be sure. So that's why we took our own time.
Oh, great. And so in terms of the songwriting and musicianship on the album, so how much growth have you seen in this album from the last one, Born from Unity?
Well, honestly, we did push ourselves when it came to songwriting like sitting down with the instrument individually, trying out something new.
Yeah.
So that's quite evident on the record. So like quite a lot of people who heard the album and they were pointing out the new additions to our songwriting structure.
Yeah.
And that really felt good because people are actually paying attention. Yeah. So that's where I felt like these are small changes, like not major changes, like probably 20%, just to add a new flavor, but the ingredients are the same. So that's helping a lot. We had to just spend a lot more time with our instruments and come up with something slightly newer and not the same old shit.
Yeah, that's cool.
We've genuinely pushed ourselves harder and we can do better. Let's try something else.
Yeah.
We used to jam a lot. Even when Jimmy was traveling to Sangli, the three of us, Mayank, Siddharth, and me, we used to jam a lot and non-stop. It was thrice a week at least, and we never stopped working on things. We never settled for anything. We kept working harder, and this can sound better.
Yeah.
Kept working on it.
Yeah, that is. Personally, I myself saw heard a lot of different stuff. Actually, I kind of feel like it sounds more progressive, and you added a lot more soundscapes, especially with some tracks like Embryo and Conflict. So I feel like there was a lot more stuff like that as well.
Well, those are all the sound designing for Embryo, Misguided, and for the intro for Incog was done by Venki from Bhayanak Moth.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So he's done the same thing for the new BM album. It's called Man.
Yeah.
So that guy is brilliant with this stuff. So we wanted this album to be a complete experience. So we didn't want to settle only for instrumental tracks. We wanted to add something a little more. That's when a month before our release we decided let's just approach Venki, and he's a gentle, kind soul. So thank you, Venki. He did his job so well. In 3 days he had everything down, and the moment we heard it, we were like, fuck yes, this is absolutely what we wanted.
Shit.
No second thoughts.
Wow, man. And I think all the stuff that we've heard so far, it really complements the concept of the album. So can you just give us a small run through of the concept? It has a lot to do with how humanity is being lost from a world
Definitely.
that's totally being run by business.
Yes. Not only business, but if you see the album artwork, the most prominent thing in the artwork is there is a lack of two most important things that makes us human. What creates feelings and emotions. Your mind and heart is missing.
Yes.
And behind the Vetruvian man, you see the framework of society, and you're being controlled by something that you don't know. And as a consequence, you're seeing the world burning behind.
Wow. Yeah, and that was what fascinated me so much about the cover art, and if I'm not mistaken, it was made by Ruben Visual Amnesia. So I guess he really got the concept that you guys wanted.
Yeah, all of us worked on it together, and we had a lot of sleepless nights, including him, us. That's why we didn't want to rush in with anything, be it small sound design, be it songwriting, be it artwork, or be it the lyrical concept.
Yeah.
We all took our own sweet time, and we just wanted this to be a complete package.
Yeah, and I think it has all worked out really well. It's only your second album, and you're already working with such big concepts like this. Usually, when bands make a second album, they're usually let's just improve on what we did first in some way. But then you guys are going for this blown out concept, and it's so.
You had to do it, man.
Go big or go home, man.
As you said, it took us a while, so we need to have a solid reason. So here is a complete album. You listen to it, you tell us what you think, why we took so long. If you enjoy it, obviously we put in a lot more work in it.
Yeah, that's really great.
It's an album after all. It's going to stick with you forever.
It is.
So we didn't want to make mistakes. First album, obviously we were amateurs. We were just a college competition band who had a bunch of songs. And we were hey, let's just compile it and make an album.
Yeah.
So we were happy. I'm still proud of my first album. There's nothing wrong in it. But then obviously I had to show some positive and confident change in the second album, which has definitely happened.
Cool. And if I'm not wrong, the physical album, it has a 12-page booklet in it.
Yes, it's got all the lyrics in it and the credentials for everyone who has been kind to us and helped us to compile everything on this.
Right. So was that an effort on your part to make the CD more special to the fans so that they would buy the CDs more than the digital copies?
Well, nothing of that sort. We are giving out even the PDF of the booklet via digital download as well.
Yeah.
So you download it via digital platforms or you buy the physical copy. you're going to have it any which ways. But like the feeling of like buying a physical copy and like opening the inlay, feeling it
Yeah.
while the track is playing, and you get to read it, like rather than just scrolling, like like people have their own
People have
preferences.
their own
We wanted to
preferences,
give the best out of it, so we didn't say like oh let's stick to this or stick to that. Like have everything. If I've gone all out, might as well have this as well.
It's
No
important,
compromise.
man. Like when people have the lyrics with them and they have something to read about, like it tells you a story, so you can relate the song and the story to the music, and you get like you can listen to the song with a whole different outlook to it.
Exactly.
So that's also like we thought about it. Like I mean, everyone should know what the song says, like what it means,
Yeah.
what the music says behind it.
Yeah, and I'm asking this because I got to talk to Sandeep of from Bayanakmoth a few months ago when he came for a gig in Bangalore, and he himself told me that they wanted to print all the like awesome lyrics and artwork that they had for Man, but there were like financial constraints that prevented them from
I
doing
think
that.
some
So
52 or 53 pages.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's enough.
Exactly.
It's a concept story, like
Yeah.
both these guys are like complete geniuses, and they are like one of my favorite people, like Vinay and Sunny. Like I've played with BM for 3 months. I was playing bass for them. And,
Ah,
like,
okay.
that's where I got to know the band like really well, and like they are like the most gentle people, and their brain works in multiple directions. They are all creative geniuses. So had to work with them on this album in some or the other way, so
Yeah.
that like it stands out.
Yeah. So do you have any other gigs coming up after the album launch tour? Any confirmed ones by any chance?
We just announced the Nepal gig before we got here.
Ah, yes.
Yeah,
yes,
so
yes.
it's medal for Nepal. So God bless Nepal. So it's a charity show. We had those guys are really working their asses off to set up a gig. It's a fundraising show. They want to build all the schools and hospitals that got demolished during the earthquake.
Yeah.
So it's a fucking kick-ass lineup. We have Undying Ink, we have Underside from Nepal, we have Aberrant from Shillong, Demonic Resurrection, and us. 2 stages, and they want to promote tourism so that they can get the economic stability back in the country.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like whoever's watching this or listening to this, like come to Nepal, man. That's
Yeah.
It's a great initiative.
Let's
man.
help our
Support
neighbors.
it in any way you can.
Yeah, and it's really cool because it's worth noting that other bands have done these charity gigs before, and from what I understand, Girish and the Chronicles played a gig for Nepal a few months ago, and the whole lineup managed to raise like 2 lakhs, man.
that's brilliant, man. Like,
Yeah,
good
so
people. God bless them too.
It's damn good.
yeah, so I really hope this gig like raises as much money as possible, and
Yes.
and that you actually get the money to the right people as well.
Yeah.
And,
So that
and we
they
know
take
those
it-
guys personally, man. Like we know Bikrant and Abhishek. We have worked with them before, and they've come and stayed over at a place. They are such sweethearts. They're like amazing people, and they do whatever they do from the bottom of their heart without any adulteration in their feelings.
Yeah.
So true. They're just brilliant people, man. So
Awesome, man. Yeah, and speaking of gigs, I've heard that you played Bangalore a few times before. You've even promoted Born from Unity here, if I'm not wrong. So like, just tell us what is the main difference you've seen between the crowd in Bangalore and the crowd back in Mumbai?
I don't know, man. Like for any band, like I've even heard from the Bangalore band, the turnout has always been a little iffy. Like you cannot see a packed venue of 300 or 400 people ever in Bangalore. Like I remember this was Gaurav Basu's words. Like they were supporting us for our album launch in 2010. Inner Sanctum, us, Abandoned Agony, and Noiseware. Like best lineup in 2010 you could ask for, and we had 94 paid entries. I still remember the figures. And Abandoned and Inner Sanctum were happy. They're like, fuck, 94 people, that's a lot. I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? We announced Bombay 3 days before, we had some 250 people.
Oh shit!
Like, I don't know, like, people might agree or diss me for this. Sorry, I don't mean to offend, but it's happened. You can ask the Bangalore bands. They might have a different opinion, but still, back to the fact, man, no shame in honesty.
Yeah, and I myself have noticed that I've been in Mumbai for 2 months, and I actually busted my left knee in a pit there.
Oh.
It was at an urban assault gig back in April, and I was like, holy fuck, what the hell am I missing, man?
The support for any upcoming hardworking band is brilliant. Like if they're putting in passion on stage, the crowd puts in equal amount of passion. That is Bombay for us. Like the moment you go and step on stage, you just see they are so hungry for you guys to play. So like I get goosebumps when I see all this
And
stuff.
it's special, man, for us.
It's
I
special.
mean, those are the people who we like meet at every gig, and they're the same guys you will see
They're
every
the same
time.
for the past 5
They're
years.
so dedicated, like you see them at every show, and they're doing the same thing, like they're making circle pits and they're going crazy.
Like again at Control Alt Delete. Like everything last year, not this year. Last year's Control Alt Delete. Usually by 11:30, it's shut shop. People go home. But the show got a little quite delayed, to be precise. We were supposed to be on stage at 11. We stepped on stage at 12:30.
Wow.
There were 750 people waiting for us. 750 people waiting for us.
Still waiting
Shit.
at 12:30 in the night. No one's bothered about the train, last train.
People
going
had come
back
from
home,
Nasik.
nothing.
There were 70 people in a bus from Indore.
Wow.
30 people who came in Innovas, on motorcycle and jeeps from Nasik and Pune.
Shit.
So that was something crazy, man. Like,
Sangli and all, man. Crazy.
oh, it was brilliant. So
Wow, man.
that's Bombay for us.
Yeah. Yeah, but now that we're here before a Bangalore gig, we're like, what are you expecting from the Bangaloreans here? Just tell us.
Honestly, we just wanted to come and play in Bangalore. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, like last time we played Bangalore was in 2014, I guess.
Last year, yeah, I think
It was a free gig
more than
at the Max Miller Bhavan. It was organized by the German embassy, like in order to promote Wacken, and we had played Wacken before.
Yeah.
For a free gig, we had 110 people.
Oh.
I think there was lesser crowd for previous bands or whatever. Like
Yeah.
You come to know the figures from the band itself because they like all the bands, like whether you're in Bombay or in Bangalore or in Nepal or wherever, they like to share their stress. So they like no man, like less crowd.
Yeah.
The show was great, but less people, whatever. Like, so we come to know. Everyone comes to know.
Come on, Bangalore, buck up, man. You're embarrassing us here.
Oh, no, not really. You'll get the best bands down, but the crowd is in Bombay.
Great. Well, yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for talking to me.
Pleasure.
And I really wish you the best of luck for the gig right now.
Thank you.
Let's hope a lot of people turn up. Let's hope it goes good. Zignema, What Makes Us Obsolete, it's available on Instamojo, Bandcamp, and Transcending Obscurity. If you don't buy it, you're fucking obsolete, man. Thanks again.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks.
Great. Cheers. Oh, fuck.